ever got your way, not just for independence, but for the type of Scotland that you would like to see, much more tax on the affluent, state control of business, nationalisation of the banks, the roads to Carlisle and Berwick would be clogged with people fleeing the country.
Yes, wanting to come into Scotland, because the working class of England are hoping in their hearts that the people of Scotland have got the bottle to take on Westminster. Got the bottle to break the British establishment. And the working class of the Liverpools, the Newcastles, the working class of London are saying, good on the jocks. They're actually taking on big business. They're actually taking on the bosses. And when we win our independence and we start investing in health, investing in education, building social housing, the people of England are going to be saying, hey, we can do that as well, and they will rediscover their radical traditions.
But in wanting to build socialism in one country, it really means you're fighting for the few rather than the many. You're bailing out of the socialist battle for Britain because you think it's going to be easier to try and make it work here.
Andrew, think globally, act locally. We're going to build socialism in Scotland, but I want socialism across the world. I want my brothers and sisters in England and Wales to be encouraged by what we do so that they can reject the Westminster consensus as well. We had the Three Stooges coming up there for London. 3 millionaires all united in one thing, austerity. Doesn't matter whether Miliband wins the next election. He's already said he will stick to the Tory spending cuts. Why vote for Miliband? You wouldn't trust him to run a bath, never mind run a country, for goodness sake.
Let's just see whether any of this is realistic, though, in this great socialist vision for Scotland that they have. At the last Scottish election, your own Socialist Party got 8,000 votes. The Tories got 30 times more votes here in Scotland than you. Yeah. So where's the appetite in Scotland for your Marxist ideology?
We might not win it, Andrew. We might not win it. We might not win it, but you know what? See in 2 years' time, see when we have our Scottish general election in an independent Scotland, guess who's going to decide who runs Scotland? The Scots. Yeah, that's the difference. We're not going to be in political handcuffs any longer.
Won the Holyrood election.
Absolutely.
And you got 8,000 votes.
Listen, I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem. The SNP won the 2007 elections, a democratic election. They then won the 2011 election. Do you know why they won it? Because they picked up the clothes that the Labour Party has thrown away. They picked up the clothes of social democracy, of protecting the health service, free prescription. Of course they have. Of course they have.
Not your left.
Well, maybe not. Yeah, maybe not. But there are people within the SNP who believe in public ownership. There are people in the SNP who believe the NHS should be written into our constitution, never for sale. There's people in the SNP who believe the Royal Mail should be returned to public ownership. That's all there. That's in black and white.
Do you agree with George Galloway that this is potentially a crisis for Scottish Labour?
Oh, listen, Scottish Labour's finished, for goodness sakes. They're absolutely finished. George is absolutely right in that. Scottish Labour is finished. The irony of ironies is, Labour in Scotland has more chance of recovery in an independent Scotland than they have of a no vote, because Labour in Scotland, in an independent country, are going to have to rediscover the traditions of Keir Hardie, the conditions of Jimmy, the ideas of Jimmy Maxim, because at the end of the day, right now, they are to the right of the SNP as a political party.
But you see, this, I understand your socialist vision, I understand that, it's where the appetite is, and you look at the people who want independence in Scotland. I mean, one of your comrades on the yes side is Brian Souter, a man who fought against the repeal of fought against homosexual rights in Scotland. Another of your allies would seem to be Rupert Murdoch, the man who engineered your downfall.
I couldn't care less, and you said engineered my downfall. I'm still here.
No,
his paper's closed, so let's be careful with that one. But the point is, whether Rupert Murdoch, Brian Souter or any other millionaire wants to support independence, I couldn't care less. This voting Thursday is not about the millionaires. It's about the millions, and it's about the millions saying here in Scotland, we are not going to be used and abused any longer. We are voting for our independence.
Would you rather not have this support?
Listen, I couldn't care less whether the support's there. You know who's supporting the union. You know it's the millionaires, it's the big business, it's the big banks, it's the Orange Order, it's the BNP, it's the UKIP. They're the ones that are supporting it. Listen, you're giving me a stray. You're giving me a stray that's wandered into the campaign. Are you seriously, Andrew, going to argue with me? Are you seriously going to argue with me that the establishment isn't united to try and save the union? That's what they're doing. The BBC so far, come on, you have been a disgrace in your coverage of the campaign so far. Not you personally, you don't have editorial control. But your BBC coverage generally has been a disgrace, and the people know it. Oilandgas.com, go and look it up. Why is that not featured? Why is the idea of 100 years of oil not featured in the campaign? Because the BBC doesn't want people to know about it.
Sounds like maybe are you getting in your excuses if you lose?
Not at all, lose! You've got to be kidding. Is this looking at the face of somebody that's looking to lose? We're going to win. 60-40. 60-40 down the line. And absolutely, there is a momentum that you guys aren't seeing in the working class housing estates and villages of Scotland. Working class people are fed up being taken for granted, fed up being lied to by these people dragging us into illegal wars, tax cuts for the millionaires, bedroom tax for the poor. They are going to use their power. They very, very rarely get any power. They've got power on Thursday, and they're going to use it, and they're going to vote for freedom.
Are you happy the way the BBC's treated you today?
So far, yes. I'm still not been offered a wee coffee right now, but maybe that'll happen.
Well, that's obviously an example of our bias. Tommy Sheridan, thank you for now, but again, we're going to speak to you later along with George Galloway. It's just